Okay, so here's another example from the movie The Commitments. This movie was made back in 1991. And let's just go to the facts here. This is a scene from the movie The Commitments, which I'm about to play, which once again proves that there are people that know the history of the so-called Irish, that they really was spawned from so-called blacks. Okay. Again, the movie The Commitments, made back in 1991. It's a comedy drama. And what have I told you, brothers, about the word comedy? The word comedy is from the Latin / Spanish / Italian, which Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, all derived from Latin. Okay, if you know about the language, you can easily see that they all three languages came out of Latin, the Latin language. Comedy in the Latin is comida. Okay, which comida is also Spanish for food. Okay. So in most cases, comedy, when it's done right, is really food for thought. Comedy when it's done right, not buffoonish comedy, but real comedy feeds the mind, food for thought. Okay. So here's an example, what I'm about to play, the scene from The Commitments, the movie The Commitments, is pretty funny, but it's true. And that's what makes it even more funny. Okay, what you're about to see. So, again, this is some facts on the movie The Commitments. All right. Jimmy Rabbit, actor Robert Arkins. And by the way, Arkins, Atkins, Adkins. You got Arkins, you got Atkins, you got Adkins, the last name, the surname, if you will, literally means family of Adam. And you can research this. Atkins, because I recently researched that last name, the surname Atkins. It means family of Adam, or kin of Adam. Now, Adam goes back to Adam goes back to the book of Genesis, in which the Israelites are the chosen sons of Adam. Now, in the book of Genesis, the 5th chapter, it tells us there was a generation of Adam. Adam simply means from the ground, from the Hebrew Adama, which means from the ground. So we all come out of Adam, right? But the chosen family of Adam were the Israelites. They would later be known as the Israelites, which means he is a prince of power. As it is written again, Deuteronomy 32nd chapter, when he separated, the he being the Most High, when he separated the sons of Adam. So you had a chosen line of Adam, which later would be known as the Israelites. Okay. So that's just a fact I wanted to bring out about the name Arkins, Atkins, Adkins. Okay. So Jimmy Rabbit, Robert Arkins, a self-proclaimed promoter, decides, now this is according to the movie. If you ever watch the movie, you know who Jimmy Rabbit is. You know, he's the star of the movie. A self-proclaimed promoter decides to organize an R&B group to fill the musical void in his hometown of Dublin. By the way, Dublin literally means Black City. Dublin. Now, you can research this, okay? Dublin, Ireland, right? The band comes together, but ends up consisting entirely of white musicians, so-called white. No such thing as white people, all right? Their true nationality is Edom, Esau. They're really red, which Esau, pursuant to Genesis 25 and 25, came out red, all right? Because he was missing the pigment, which is natural, which is what you're supposed to have, pigment of the skin, right? Which is what us so-called black people have naturally, pigment. All right, so the band comes together but ends up consisting entirely of white musicians who have little experience with the game, or with the genre. I'm sorry, with the genre. Even though their raw talent and lofty aspirations gained the group notoriety, the pitfalls of fame began to tear at their newfound friendship as they prepare for their big show, based on the novel by Roddy Doyle. Roddy Doyle. All right, now Roddy Doyle, for him to put this, according to his book, to put this scene together, he knows that the background of the Irish goes back to so-called black people. Okay, and that's dramatizing the scene here that I'm about to play for you. So, again, the commitments, right? And by the way, I believe Doyle has something to do. The name Doyle, I believe it means black, if I'm not mistaken. All right, brothers can fact check me on that. Okay, so let's go to the scene and check it out.
That's what you got to measure up to, lads.
Do you not think, what? Well, like, maybe we're a little white for that kind of thing.
Do you not get it, lads? The Irish are the blacks of Europe, and Dubliners are the blacks of Ireland, and the Northside Dubliners are the blacks of Dublin. So say it once, say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
So there you go. Okay. The main guy who was talking, that was Jimmy Rabbit. He's the guy that was going, looking for musicians around his area to put together this R&B group. All right, that's according to the movie. So he wanted to, he wanted to get him excited about performing, and he said, "Look, this is what you got to measure up to." What did he show them? An old film of James Brown. I believe that's the Tammy Awards. TAMI, the Tammy Awards show, made back in I think it was the mid-60s, in which, hands down, James Brown, of all the acts that was on the Tammy Award show, James Brown was the most popular act by far. And then guess who had to follow? Guess who had to, if that is the Tammy Awards footage, brothers can fact check me on that. Guess who had to follow James Brown right after that performance? The Rolling Stones. Then if you ever watched the Tammy Awards show, right after James goes off stage, you see Mick Jagger and the rest of the dudes come up. They had that nervous look, like, how the hell are we going to top that? How the hell are we going to top James Brown? But guess what? They pulled it off. You know why? Because they're Jakes, especially Mick Jagger, man. Come on. He pulled it off. He got the crowd rocking with their songs, But that's the point. You just heard what the actor Robert Hawkins, who played the character Jimmy Rabbit in the movie The Commitments. You just heard what he said. The blacks, and that's a saying, the blacks, the Irish are the blacks of Europe, and the Dubliners are the blacks of Ireland, right? As a matter of fact, back in the 70s, there were signs in London and different parts of, especially London. There were signs that where people were renting, they would put no Irish, they would put no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. Okay? Yeah. As a matter of fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. All right? No blacks, no Irish, no dogs. So they lumped in the Irish right along with the blacks. There you go. These were actual actual signs that were put on places where they were renting, but they didn't want no. Here it is, right here. No Irish, no blacks, no dogs. So what does that tell you? The so-called Irish are under the curses just like the so-called blacks. Why? Because they're Israelites, man. It goes back to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. You know, you shall become a byword. You know, you shall be oppressed. You know, Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Okay, the curses, beginning at the 15th verse. How you get around this? No Irish, no blacks, no dogs. And these were signs that were put, especially in London, that were put on buildings that were for rent, but they didn't want no Irish, or apartments, I should say. They didn't want no Irish, they didn't want no blacks, they didn't want no dogs. There you go. So that's just a moment in history, just once again to show you that the Irish, they have a lot in common with us because they are, you know, Israelites. A lot of them are Israelites, the Irish. And Tom Brady, his family goes back to Ireland, right? So put it together, man. Anyway, that's it for now. Next video.